Hey guys, so still in quarantine, and I thought something I've been wanting to do for a while is make ginger beer. So I'm going to start today by making the ginger bug. So to start off with, I'm going to get 125 grams of ginger and some sugar and some tepid water. Put it into this flask, which seals, but it will release at a higher pressure. If it builds up pressure, this will release the CO2 out. So day one, I think you can grate the ginger. Might be a good idea, to be fair, to use one of these and just slice it nice and thin. So let's try that. So now we've got that done, I'm going to chuck it in the, I'm not sure if you can see this, but that's what it looks like grated. That's going in the jug. Okay, so that's what she looks like. That's 125 grams done up there. Now, you want it to use warm water, but you don't want it to be hot. So if you've had a recently boiled kettle, it's probably too hot. If it feels warm, then it's probably a bit too much. So cool it down a little bit. That should be about right. And then that goes in. About 2/3 of the way up this bottle I'm going to go. If the kettle will allow me to. Yeah, that's about right. So that's probably a litre in there. Next step. Will be to add some sugar. So I'm going to do a half a cup of sugar. Okay, and then stir. Now if you've just discovered this recipe and you don't follow my my brewing channel, one thing I must say is if this is something new to you, you should always clean and sanitize everything. Okay, so there she is. Sugars are all nicely dissolved. You see the colour on that? It's got a lot. It's already taken a lot of the liquid. The ginger root juice is mixed in there nicely. So I'm going to leave that for a couple of days, and then we'll come back for the next step, which will be to feed it, and then we'll start the process of removing some and bottling it. So let's see how we get on. 24 hours later, and I'm ready to go on to the next step. So what I'll do is I'll take you down onto the cutting board and I'll just show you what I'm looking for and why I'm ready for the next step. Let's go. Okay, so you might be able to see here these little bubbles that are forming along the top here, and you can actually see them making their way back up through the liquid. So that is telling me that this is fermenting, it's on its way. So basically we're going to take a little bit more ginger. I'll just cut the end off, it's a bit dry and manky. Now this I'm not going to grate, I'm just going to cut it's about 2 tablespoons worth that you need. So just cut 2 tablespoons worth of ginger into bits. You do want to keep the skin on and everything, because basically we've got a yeast colony inside this jar now, but what we're doing is we're strengthening the yeast colony, we're building it up over a few days before we start to use it to ferment our main batch. So I've got this all sliced up, just chop it into a few bits. Okay, and now the trick is to take some out. Oh, that smells amazing. So we'll take some out. Don't worry if ginger comes out with it, because we're putting ginger back in. So I'm taking 1 cup out. I'm putting the new 2 tablespoons or so of ginger in. Okay, and then we'll do 4 tablespoons of sugar. So 4 tablespoons. 1, 2, 3, 4 tablespoons. And we'll top it up with boiled, cooled water. Okay, give it a nice old stir. Okay, and then I'll leave that again for another 24 hours and I'll repeat the process. This will be the bit that I use on the next 24 hours. I've got enough here to do another one, and then I should be ready to use the rest of this, plus I have another 125 gram, which I'll then do with the 4 litres of water on the stovetop, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. So that's it for now, and every time I come into the kitchen for anything, I just give it a little turn like this, and it just gets it all swirling nicely and just keeps everything in suspension. So let's see you in 24 hours. Okay, so yesterday I came down and I had a look. Plenty of bubbles making their way up through the mixture, so my understanding is that that is a healthy enough yeast colony for me. So I just added 2 more tablespoons of sugar for that 24-hour period. I didn't put any more ginger in or run off any of the liquid. So now what I'll need to do is siphon off as about 2/3 of a litre, about 600 millilitres. If I can get a litre, I will take a litre. And then what I'm doing here, I'm boiling 3 litres of water, 3 and a bit litres of water. I'm going to do 125 grams of ginger chopped up. I'm going to boil the ginger in there with 2 cups of sugar. And then I'm going to use this keg, which I won from one of Tinny Jenkins' hop raffles that he does. I haven't used it yet, so this is going to be the first time using it. It's a mini keg, 5 litres. So I will strain the stuff from the pot once it's cooled down, so I'll boil it for about 5 minutes. That's just to kill off any bugs that are on there and to sanitize everything. I will also boil this muslin, which is going to be used in the inside the funnel, and then basically this fits onto the top of the keg like so. Now it has got this option here. I haven't screwed this CO2 bulb in all the way yet to pressurize the container. I will do that, but I will see if there's a way of perhaps removing all of this and letting it pressurize itself over the 2 days that this will sit on the counter with the mixture in here. Because if that, once this is cooled down, if I mix it with this, the yeast in here, the colony of bacteria that's in here will ferment the sugars that will then be in here, and that's what will naturally carbonate this mixture, which means I should just be able to pull myself a couple. So I'll leave this at room temperature, and every day I'll just pull a taste of it until the taste is exactly as I want it to be, then I will put this whole thing in the fridge, and that will sit under pressure. It will still slowly ferment, but if I'm tapping off pressure, it won't explode or over pressurize. This also comes with a really nifty pressure gauge on it, so it will tell me if it's getting, you know, outside of the target range. So that's my next step. And then what I'll do is I'll fill this back up with water. I will chop up some of the remaining ginger, just a couple of probably just this much, like 20 grams. Put that back in here with another 4 tablespoons of sugar, because there's plenty of living yeast in here already. It'll all be stuck to the stuff that's left behind, and then this ginger bug will continue to work. Once the bubbles start coming up here and I know it's fermenting again, I can put this in the fridge, and when I'm ready to make the next ginger bug, when I'm ready to make the next 5 litres of ginger beer, then I'll have this ready. I can bring it out, get it to room temperature, feed it a little bit, and then 24 hours later I'll be able to make this again. Okay, so this is now at room temperature. I'm going to use this funnel. This is all sanitized. I also have I've been boiling this pot of water for a little while to sanitize my hands are sanitized. Everything's nice and clean. Okay. This hasn't been used before. It does look a bit tatty, but it's never been used before. So the first step, I'll just show you what this looks like. That's been sitting for a little while. The smell coming off that is absolutely amazing. Okay, so see if we can do this without too much spillage. I should probably do it over the basin. Just in case. Well, I'll be honest with you, that worked a lot better than I thought it would. Now, this has got a slight thread on it, so I just screwed it a little bit in, and that seemed to hold it in place. It's probably just over half full. So now I dump loads of this in. I'm tempted to say dump it all in. This definitely has an alcoholic smell to it. So in this instance, I won't be reusing the ginger bug, I will make a new one. So I'll just wash this all out, and when I need to, depending on how much I like this, I'll make another one, or maybe I won't. Then I've got some water that I boiled and cooled and then filtered earlier. It's still running. Just need to check how full it is. It's getting there. Probably needs another litre. So push this all through to rinse out all the goodness. Then I'll just let that drain. I'll probably fast forward this bit. Put the top on. This has all been sanitized as well. I've also found that if I take the CO2 cap off here, air won't escape. So I'm going to let that carb up naturally and only put on a CO2 cylinder if I need it. Okay, and then a little tip, last thing, because I'm going to chuck all of this away. If you just put your finger underneath the funnel like that, you're just going to chuck that straight in the bin. You don't make any mess. So that, I'm going to put the lid on and I'm going to give the outer part of the keg a good rinse. This funnel will go in the dishwasher so that it's cleaned at a nice heat with some good soap in that. And then we just got to wait a couple of days for the next step. Okay guys, so I'll come back to you in a couple of days and hopefully we'll be pouring some nice fresh ginger beer, carbonated naturally. Well, that's the hope. Let's see how we get on. Cheers. Hey guys, I just realized that I've left this in the fridge for quite some time. It's ice cold. It had just the little cap on here, which when I unscrewed released a rather large amount of pressure, which tells me that it should be a little bit carbonated already. I just need to check about this CO2 bulb here, because I was messing around with it before I took this all apart, so I might not have any pressure left. But I'm going to try and do a pour. Don't know if you can see. You might be able to see that. Maybe I'll lift this up a bit. There. So we'll try and do a pour and see what we get. Oh, here we go. Well, plenty carbonation in there. Now you've got to imagine pouring this over ice and perhaps with a sprig of mint. But you can see plenty of carbonation in there. That was quite nice delivery. You can see the bubbles rushing up in there. That, and it smells lovely. It smells like back in South Africa we used to get a ginger beer called Stony ginger beer. Came in a brown can. It wasn't alcoholic, but it was really nice. Oh, so it's crisp, fresh, still a little bit sweet, but not cloyingly sweet. You can feel the bubbles, but you also get that ginger burn when you swallow it, which is really nice. I mean, I like ginger in itself, but that's got the sort of sweetness of some sugars, the latent sugar left out there. It doesn't have too much of a smell, but I imagine that on ice, bit of mint in the top there perhaps, or slice of lime. Yeah, I could go through a few of these. I have no idea what the ABV is because I didn't measure the gravities. I didn't really measure how much sugar I was putting into the ginger bug. But I didn't use yeast. It was all a natural fermentation, so it's supposed to be good for your gut as well. But there'll be some alcohol. I'd probably say it's probably about a 3.5 or 4% ABV. if I was guessing based on the amount of sugar I've used. It's fantastic. I really like that, and it's nice. I've got a little 5-litre keg of it, so if I ever want to make it again, it's probably the right size, and I'll pull this out during a barbecue or something like that, and just that'll get smashed. I mean, people will be a couple of drinks each and there's 5 litres gone. So I'm glad to have done this, and I hope you've managed to stick through to the end of the video, and I hope it's been informative for anyone who's looking to make it. Check out my other videos as well. I do a lot of home brewing stuff, so if you're interested in the craft, then come along and join my channel. I hope that was informative, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Cheers.